Hey guys, we are in the basement. Today we're gonna do part number 7 of the Journey restoration. That is right, we're gonna go to the garage and we're gonna do a bunch of busy work today. Let me tell you guys, you know, we're gonna take a look at that control panel. We need to paint that thing because before we can put the overlay on, we need to paint it. Also, I wanna rebuild the joystick because that thing is filthy and original, so we're gonna do that in this video. And then also we're gonna start restoring the coin door. Yes, today's video is going to be a lot of busy work. So anyway, why don't we go to the garage and let's get working on the Journey. All right guys, here's where the Journey is. And by the way, check this out. So Dan Reed, who watches these videos just like you guys, he emailed me and said, hey John, give me your address, I wanna send you something. And this is what he sent me. Check this thing out. This is like a dolly for my tripod. So I can kind of wheel it around, and I'm gonna be using this thing a lot. It is so freaking cool. And it's gonna make, like, you know, my movements with the tripod like super smooth. Like, check out how cool this is. Is this like crazy? So Dan Reed, if you're watching this, man, thank you so much for this thing because it is freaking awesome. Look how cool that is. Does that look cool? So anyway, let's review. In the last video, we got the Journey artwork. We did an unboxing, okay? And so I've got the marquee and the bezel on right now. And so now we're pretty much, and by the way, the game's working 100%. The monitor looks beautiful. We've capped it, we've rejuved it, we've done the B+. I mean, we've done everything we could possibly do to that monitor, and it looks really good. And now we're at the point where we need to make the cabinet look good. And so we're gonna start the cabinet restoration. And what I wanna do first is I wanna paint the control panel because we're gonna put the overlay on there. And so right now it's just kind of like this primer that's on here. And so we're gonna paint this. And then we're also gonna strip the coin door and we're gonna paint that. And then what I wanna do first, I think, is we're going to do all the black first because this cabinet has like this navy blue kind of color on the sides, okay? And I'm gonna have to get some paint that matches this because I was hoping, I found this paint that was like this marine navy blue paint, but it's glossy. It's just too shiny. I wanted to use it because it's oil-based and it's really not possible to get oil-based paint around here, especially mixed. I can find like Rust-Oleum satin black at Home Depot and some standard colors, but it seems like all of the standard colors come in gloss, which I don't want because this right here is a gloss navy blue and it's just too shiny. And I tried using some sander deglosser. Let me show you guys, because Rich at This Old Game suggested, he said, hey John, try a paint deglosser, and I tried this and it doesn't work. It's basically just starts removing the paint. And I think the purpose of this stuff is, this is basically, instead of sanding a surface that you're gonna paint over, you can apply this stuff and it just kind of like roughens up the paint. That way you can paint over it and the new paint sticks to the old paint easier. And so this stuff removes that glossy finish so that the new paint could stick, and it just doesn't do what I need it to do because I want to remove the gloss surface and have it look good. You know, but it doesn't look good. But this is the paint I did try out. It's a topside paint. It's a marine Rust-Oleum oil-based paint. I found this on Amazon, and I did a little test section here. The color is pretty good, but it's too shiny, and I tried that paint deglosser. It didn't work. So I'm gonna have to find a source for the paint. I think I'm gonna end up going to Sherwin-Williams and just buying their best quality paint and try to get them to match that navy blue color. But anyway, in this video, we're gonna paint the black because the insides are all black. And then also the bottom panel right down here, this is supposed to be navy blue. So we're gonna have to patch up these holes. I'm gonna pull out these little nuts that are on. They originally had a lock bar on here, and so we've got these nuts here. So I'm gonna have to pull those off, and we're gonna patch this up, Bondo it. We're gonna get rid of all this black paint. I'm gonna try some citrus strip on it. We're gonna remove the coin door, strip it, sand it, get all the rust off, and paint it. We're going to sand all these silver parts and try to get these shiny again. This right here is riveted on the coin door. I'm going to have to drill out the rivets. And then what I always do when I reapply the Midway, because the Midway coin door plate, is I get some little tiny screws and I screw it back on. But I drill out the rivets, pop this off, and then we're gonna pop all these other parts off. You know, again, sand the black, paint the black, and then just sand up all these chrome parts and get them shiny again, and just clean the whole thing up. And then I want to use some citrus strip to get all this black paint off, because we're gonna have to paint that the navy blue, and then. Again, the insides, this side here is all going to be black, and then this is navy blue, and then, you know, it's inside black all the way up in here. No big deal. And then we're going to have to take off the these little grills. These are for the speakers. They're all kind of bent out of shape and rusted. We're going to have to paint all those, and just going to take the whole game apart, basically, and really, and just start refinishing it. So why don't we, actually, before we start too, I want to show you guys something here. Yeah, I'm trying to use my new little toy here. Is this fun? So, I usually have the camera in my hand right now, but, so what I want to do, actually what I want to show you guys though, I picked up these. These are cassette players, and I found a cassette interface board, I think. It's on its way. A guy in Clove got a hold of me and said, hey, I got 2 cassette interface boards. If you want one of them, you can have it. You know, I'm going to pay him money for it, of course. He's going to send me it first to make sure it works, and if it does, then I'll pay him. If it doesn't, then we'll pay him a different price. But anyway, the cassette interface board is on the way, and so I went out and I got some cassette players on eBay. Now, this right here is the exact model of the original cassette player that was in this game. This is an Emerson CR46. This is the same cassette player that Bally Midway put in these games in the beginning, out of the factory. And basically, again, to review, the concept of this is, during the last stage of the game journey, the band is on stage playing a song, and the song is played from the cassette player. It's playing an actual Journey song, not computer music. It's playing it from a cassette, and this is what it had in it. This is an endless cassette. It's an endless looping cassette. It's a 3-minute cassette, and it has a version of Separate Ways, Worlds Apart, on this cassette that's exactly 3 minutes long. I guess the real song is a little bit longer, and they cut out like 16 bars of it. So we're gonna make this cassette. I don't know if we're gonna do it in this video, but I'm gonna basically, I have a copy of the version that was on the original cassette. We're gonna basically record it onto this tape. I have to figure out how I'm gonna do that. I want to play the MP3 from my computer and then run like a line out to my tape player. I have my old stereo downstairs from when I was younger. I think I'm going to use that to record onto this. So we'll run a line from my Mac to my cassette player, record the song onto here, and then we'll be able to play it on the cassette. And the basic idea how this works is, the cassette interface board is basically an audio amp and this like cassette control logic that's on there. And how it works is, the board basically sends a signal to the cassette interface during the last sequence, and that board then sends power to this. And this thing is always has the play button pushed, and it's in the back of the cabinet with the play button pushed. And what happens is, the cassette interface board basically just sends 6 volts to this through here, to this jack. This thing plays during the segment, and then when the segment is over, it cuts the power, and then it stops. And then the next time you get to the level, it basically leaves off where you left off on the song, and then plays it again. And then it has an endless cassette in there, so you don't have to rewind or fast forward. It just basically just keeps looping that same song over and over and over. So anyway, this is the exact model that was originally in the game. I found it on eBay for like $8, right? I'm looking at it though. It looks like the battery's leaked in it, because this is all corroded green, okay? And I've heard that these things sound like crap. So I also went on eBay and I found another one. Not the same model, but a newer one. This is a Radio Shack one. And this is probably, I don't know how much newer, maybe 5, 6, 7 years newer than this one. And I think this is going to be the one I use. I think this is just in better shape. It's clean, and I think the audio quality might be better. So basically, we're going to tap into the DC 6 volts right here and run that to the cassette interface board for the power. And then on, I think the earphone or the aux, one of these two outputs, I'm guessing this aux is an output. One of these two outputs we're then going to run to the audio amplifier part of the cassette interface. And so basically the audio is going to go from the cassette player through the earphone to the interface board, and then through the speakers, and then the interface board is going to basically mix the game sounds with the sounds from this cassette player. So does that all make sense? So we're not going to do this today in this video, but I just wanted to show you guys that I got this stuff, and I'm waiting for the cassette interface board to show up. It should be here like on Tuesday. So anyway, what I want to do first is I want to get the control panel off and the coin door. We're going to start painting those. And then we're going to strip the black off the front and then start painting the black. And I have to patch up the holes down here and do a bunch of Bondo work all over the place. So, all right, so why don't I turn the game off, and I'm just going to unplug it. And so this is going to be the last time we see the Journey game for a while, because I'm going to start taking everything off the game, like the PCB and maybe the monitor, because we got to paint. And so first things first, though, I want to get the control panel off. And remember, we made a nice little harness here, so we can just unplug it, okay? So that's really it. And then let's come over here. And this control panel is brand new. It's a reproduction from Takeman on Clove. He does a really good job. He found some source to make sheet metal control panels, and they do a really good job. There is like a primer on here that's all scratchy, and I probably could leave this as is and put my overlay over it, but I'm not going to, because the primer is like coming off and there's bare metal everywhere, and I don't think it's very good, so I'm going to paint it. The factory, though, originally had it looking like this. I think that the factory, back in the 80s, you know, Midway, I think that they put this kind of same primer on here and then put the overlay over it. But I don't want to do that, because I don't want any black, any silver showing in here, because when we put the overlay on, you're going to see a little bit of this opening here for the joystick, and I want that to be black. And if the overlay doesn't go all the way to the edge, you know, I don't want silver showing over here. I want only black. So we're going to paint the whole thing black, front and back. And so first things first, though, we got to get all these parts off. And I'm just going to, and basically, if you guys ever need to put control panel overlays on a control panel, this is going to be how you do it. You know, basically, you need to get everything off of it. And if you want to take photos before you remove everything, I'm pretty confident I'm going to be able to put it back together the way I take it apart. But just take off these nuts. These are the switches here. They're held on with these Pell nuts. Okay, so just take those off. Usually you can get them off by hand, or just give them a little bit of a nudge with some pliers. And so we're just going to take all the Pell nuts off. And now all the buttons, the leaf switches will come right off. We need to get the joystick off. We do need to remove the E-clip to get the joystick off. See that right there? That little E-clip. We're going to have to pull that out, because you cannot remove the joystick on most games unless you can't remove the joystick assembly on most games unless you remove the actual stick, okay? Because it won't fit through that hole. Okay, so we got that, and I gotta make sure I don't lose any of these parts. I should probably get a little Ziploc bag. And then we're gonna clean all this stuff. I wanna sand all this down. I wanna soak this in like bleach, because this thing's just kind of dirty. And we're gonna clean all this stuff up, and I'll probably have it soaking in like Simple Green overnight in a cup. And this was the dust washer that I didn't put back on. We're gonna have to put that on later. And let me get my socket set here. But yeah, guys, this is it, man. We're in the home stretch, because the game's working, the monitor's capped, and really, the game's totally playable. The game, it's just that the cabinet doesn't really look that great right now. But when we get done, it's gonna look bitchin'. And I'm hoping to have this done within the next 2 weeks. Maybe 2 to 4 more videos. I'm not sure how far we're gonna get in this video. It's already Saturday night, and I want to get this video out Sunday night. So this video is going to be basically me working Saturday and Sunday. And just gotta get all these nuts off of here. So I'm pretty excited about my little tripod toy here. This is kind of fun. Maybe I won't walk around with the camera so much anymore. I'll just use this little tripod dolly. And by the way, guys, it looks like I'm hitting 10,000 subscribers, or I probably have already hit 10,000 by the time this video comes out. Right now I'm at 9,993 or something. I checked just a few minutes ago, so that's pretty exciting. So I definitely want to thank you guys for supporting me and watching my videos, and really, it means a lot, and I can't believe that my little arcade niche channel has 10,000 subscribers, you know. You know, I'm not doing Call of Duty Let's Plays. You know, this is a very kind of niche topic, I think, you know, compared to that kind of stuff. But, so thank you. If you've subscribed to my channel, thank you, thank you. If you've never subscribed, now's the time. Okay, so we got the joystick off. I need to pop these buttons off of here. And I don't think, they're really in there, man, because, these holes on Takeman's control panel are they're just so tight. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't want to break the buttons. You know? I'm hesitant to do this. Yep, I just broke it. Why did I do that? I knew I was going to do that. I totally just broke that button. Frick. Oh, man. Did I? Can I get that back in there? Maybe. Oh, I can. All right, I didn't break it. All right, don't do what I just did to get the buttons out. All right, so anyway, when you want to put a new overlay on, you need to get everything off, okay? And if it's an original control panel, it might have rust on it, it might have all kinds of gunk. You need to sand all of that off and sand it down. But I don't need to do that because this is a brand new one. It already has like a primer on here, so we're gonna paint it. So let me get set up here and let's paint this thing. Okay, I put the control panel on some cardboard, and we're just gonna hit it with some paint. I have some Rust-Oleum satin paint and primer in one. So I've never used this stuff, but it looks like it's pretty good. So I actually don't even know if it's good, but it seemed to be one of the better ones that Home Depot is selling. And how the heck do we get this off? Okay. And yeah, this is pretty basic. We're just gonna hit it with some paint. I'll probably do 2 coats on each side. This piece isn't so critical here because you're not really gonna see it. I'm really just painting it to protect it. You know, I don't want this thing to rust or whatever. And it's probably not gonna rust, but it's just kind of going the extra mile. And some guys say that you should paint control panels white, okay? And the reason for that is that the artwork might pop a little bit more, because if the color that's behind the control panel overlay bleeds through, okay? If the control panel overlay is somewhat translucent, and if there's black behind it, it makes the artwork on the CPO look dim. Now, I've never done this. I've never, you know, put a control panel overlay on a black control panel and said, wow, that looks really dim. But some guys say, though, that the colors will pop a little bit more if you do it with white. I don't want to do that. I don't like doing it with white because you can then see white around the joystick hole, okay? Now, some guys will paint it white and then paint just that area black. Whatever, I'm just gonna paint it black. It's gonna be just fine. And so we're just gonna come in here. And again, I'm not really that concerned about how this part looks. I just want to get a nice even coat of black on it. And I always use satin. You know, the gloss paints look cheap, you know. I think satin's always your best bet for pretty much most parts. Unless you really want, you know, kind of a glossy look. Let me kind of come to the other side here. This paint seems pretty good. Next, I want to get like a wireless microphone. Wouldn't that be badass? This microphone I got, the audio quality is actually pretty good. All right, we'll let that dry. And then I'll probably come back later, put another coat on it, flip it over, and do the other side. So, all right, so we got that started. And when that's all dry, both sides, we're ready to put the overlay on. So we're getting there. So another thing I want to do with the control panel is we want to rebuild that joystick. And isn't this tripod thing fun? Whee! So we want to rebuild the joystick, and I got to take the whole thing apart. It's really not that hard, but if you look in here, man, it is filthy, man. That is a filthy, filthy joystick. So you got to take these things apart and just clean them. I mean, there's 30 years of grime and dust and all kinds of garbage on here. So we got to take the whole thing apart. And I wonder if I could do it in a way without removing the leaf switches, and I think I can. Looks like those two there. Let me see if I can get my nut driver. But, you know, if you buy a game and it's got a joystick on it that just doesn't feel very good, it sticks, it's not responsive, take it apart. That's really almost, that fixes almost all of them. Just take the joystick apart, clean it up, you know, put a little lubricant on it, maybe some silicone spray or something, and put it back together. That's all you usually need to do with these joysticks, especially like Nintendo joysticks, because they're just all metal. There's like no parts that can wear out. The whole thing is like metal on metal. But this one has a grommet on it. I'm not positive. I might have a new grommet that might work with it. But I'm going to take all these parts off and we're going to clean them. There's like a restrictor plate right here, a 4-way restrictor, because this is a 4-way joystick. And I'm just going to take all my parts and throw them in this bag. And I think it's great to have like a Ziploc bag on hand, like a nice big bag, because that's how I keep all my parts organized as you take stuff apart. Okay, so looks like then I come over here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so this should come apart. Right? Am I missing something here? I got 4 screws. This should come apart. There we go. Okay, so we got that. I mean, just look how filthy that stuff is. So we're going to clean all that up, and I'm just going to... So this is the grommet right here. And I might have one of these. I bought a bunch of these grommets. There was a website, I forgot the guy's name that did them. It was called like GameGrommets.com. And he sells the Midway grommets, the Wicco joystick grommets. This one's not that bad, actually, because the game actually played pretty fine. It's just, I just want to clean this up. But if you replace the grommet, I mean, this is where all the feel of the game is right here on this piece. And if you replace that with a new one, your joystick will be like brand new. Now, not all games have grommets though. Like I said, the Nintendo ones, it's just metal on metal. And there's like a metal ball that the joystick goes through. God, this thing is crudded up here. Alright, so I'm going to put this in here. And then my 4 screws. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this stuff in the house. Actually, this I should start sanding. Get all this crap off here. Let me get some sandpaper. Okay, so like all the metal parts on here, which is basically only this, I'm just going to come in here before I wash this and just kind of get all the rust off of it. And what's nice about this, though, you don't even see it because it's all hidden by that red sleeve. But still, I don't want rust on my game. I can't stand rust. No rust is allowed in the basement. Okay, I think the joystick looks pretty good. So I'm going to take all of these parts and I'm going to soak all of these overnight in just a bunch of simple green. And God, look at that. It's just so gross. So we're going to soak all this stuff. This part right here, I could probably just come in with some sandpaper and just kind of clean it up. Actually, I want to pop off that plastic piece. The restrictor plate, clean that up. Throw that in my bag. And there's some surface rust on these. I'm really not crazy about taking these leaf switches off. I could, I guess. I don't know if I need to, though. But just come in and get all the surface rust off this stuff. I mean, the rust and the dirt down here doesn't really affect the function of it, but I just don't like having... If you're going to take it apart, just go the extra mile and just clean it up and get all the rust off of it. I wonder if the joystick shaft, that kind of copper color, if that was a coating they put on it, or if that was rust. I'm not really sure. Okay, you know what? I think I am going to take the leaf switches off. I just want to kind of label where they go, where the wires go. And I'm just going to make myself a little diagram here. So it kind of goes like this. Okay, and then right here is black and white. And right here is black and brown. Black and brown. Then right here is black and purple. And then that's right here is black and blue. And that way when I put it back together, I don't have to second guess myself, and I'm not messing around you know, trying to figure out which switch goes where. Because it's not hard, but it's just a pain in the butt. So, all right. So to take these leaf switches off, there's just 2 screws holding each one. Pretty simple stuff, really. But I guess if we're really going to clean it, we should really clean it. And then when it comes off, this little plate comes off with it. See that there? And just don't want to lose this stuff. Okay, I have all the leaf switches off, and I want to make sure I take all of these screws and the little brackets and put them in my bag so I don't lose them. And really, I think it's all worth it because the joystick, the controls are the most important part of the game. I mean, if you're playing a game and the joystick's sticking or is sloppy or it doesn't work, the game's useless. It's not fun. So go through the effort of cleaning up these joysticks. Make sure the buttons all are good and responsive. It's just worth the effort because that is like your interface, your window into the game is like, you know, the monitor should look good and the controls should be good. If the controls in the monitor aren't good, the game's not good. It's just not worth owning it. So just go through the effort, take it apart, get all the crap and the rust off of it, and it's just worth the effort. So, all right, so this is looking pretty good. No rust. Everything's shiny. All right, so that plate's good. There's this plate here. This one is really gunked up. I think I'm going to soak this one because there's like a layer of filth in here. So this one I'm going to soak in simple green first. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring these parts in the house and I'm just going to put them like in a cup full of water and simple green and just let them soak overnight and then clean them up in the morning. So I'm going to put those to the side for now. Okay, so now, put this in here. And I'll put my little cheat sheet here. You don't want to lose these parts, man. You lose a screw, it'll ruin your whole day. Trust me. There's nothing like losing just like one stupid screw. You're trying to put something back together and you can't find one of the screws. And you don't have one on hand, of course. And of course, next thing you know, you're in the car going to Ace Hardware. And then you'll get home and you're missing something else and you're going back to Ace Hardware. It's happened to me. So, okay, so that's that. So the joystick's all taken apart. So now I want to address the coin door. And I want to get the coin door off. The coin door is actually pretty easy to get off. There's two... Actually, there should be 4 nuts. There's one on the top, the bottom, left, and the right on the inside. And all we gotta do is just remove those nuts and the coin door should just pop right off. I'm gonna have to get this out of here. We gotta mount this at some point too, the service switch. But I need to get the coin bucket out of the way. And right now, the coin door is not wired. I need to do that. We'll do that in a later video, or I might just do it off camera. It's going to be the same kind of wiring that we had to do on the control panel. You know, just following the wiring diagram and putting these wires in the right spot. So let me get my socket set here and let's get the coin door off. Okay, so basically just a 3/8 inch socket. And on the inside here, there's 4 nuts. And if you remove those, the coin door should just fall out. And normally, I don't even know what this thing is. Normally, there will be ground straps, and you got to disconnect the harness. So just be aware of that. And actually, there is a ground strap right here, and some kind of harness. So I'm gonna have to disconnect the ground strap too. So you'll encounter all that stuff. Just disconnect it all, and then the coin door just comes out. So let me get all these nuts off. So you can see just 1/4 inch nuts are just coming right off. 2 more to go. Okay, so I got all the nuts off here. Actually, the last one's still kind of on, but and the coin door should just fall off now. And we do have this ground strap on here still. Shit, I need to get a screwdriver to get that off. Let me get one. I'm just taking the ground strap off. And it's just a screw, a little nut. So now the coin door should come right off. And there you go. So that's it. And then we're going to come over to the desk here, the table, and we're going to take it apart. And then with coin doors, what I like to do is I like to throw all of the parts from the coin door into the coin bucket. That way they're just kind of separated. I know that they're in the bucket because it's the coin bucket for the coin door, and it's just easy to keep track of parts that way. Okay, so now we gotta start taking this guy apart so we can get it ready for painting. Okay, I have the coin door on the table here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take off the frame, the part that mounts, that screws to the cabinet itself. And there's just 3 screws here on the hinges, and we're just gonna pop those off, and then the hinge will come right off. And again, make sure you don't lose these screws. And I'm just going to throw them all in my coin bucket. Okay, so... Alright, so the hinge is off. Actually, not the hinge, the frame is off, okay? The hinge is actually spot welded to the coin door itself, so we can't take that off. Okay, so now we need to strip all the parts off the coin door. And shouldn't be too hard. We're gonna get the mechs off. These are the coin mechs, okay? And there's 2 little tabs right here. You just pull those down, and then these should lift right out like so. Okay, so there's the coin mechs. And now it's gonna expose a whole bunch of screws here, a whole bunch of nuts. And I'm just gonna take my little 5/16 nut driver, it looks like. And maybe not, actually, for those. And I'm just gonna start taking all these parts off. And we're going to want to clean all this stuff too. But this right here is for the 25-cent. See that? So we'll clean that up. It's really filthy. These are reverse screen printed. Rich at This Old Game actually makes reproductions of these too. Okay, so let's see what else I need to get off here. And get the other one off. And for whatever reason, the lights on these are missing. I actually ordered some lights because the 25-cent little thing should light up. You know, there should be lights behind them. And I know on my Pac-Man Cabaret, which looked all original, it didn't have lights. And this looks all original, doesn't have lights. I'm wondering if they didn't always put lights on these. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so now I need to see how find a nut driver for this. And, right there. This isn't really hard, you just gotta get everything off. It's really the only way to paint this. You gotta get all the parts off. And if you're worried about putting it back together, I would advise taking photos before you do this. I've been confused before, like trying to put it back together. I'm like, where does this go? Eventually you figure it out because you kind of can deduce where everything goes. Okay, I got all the parts off, everything's off. It was just a whole bunch of nuts. And you can see everything here, so we're gonna have to clean all this stuff up. But for now, I'm just gonna put it all in my little coin bucket, all the parts. And just gonna throw all my screws in here. Just don't wanna lose this stuff, but we're gonna have to clean all this stuff up because it's all kind of gross and rusted and filthy and dirty, but just keep everything in here. For now, we're just going to be painting the coin door. Alright, so that should be everything. And my coin mechs. Alright, so now we've got the door and the frame off, and they're stripped, but we need to get this plate off. Okay, this is the Bally Midway plate. They do sell a reproduction of this, but it's a sticker. And you can get ones with holes in it too. I think we're going to reuse this. But we're going to take it off. And it's riveted on, if you guys can see that. So there's rivets. So we just need to screw the rivets off. And let me get my drill and a drill bit. Okay, I'm just going to come in here with my drill. And I'm just going to drill out the rivets from the back. And it shouldn't take much to break these. Okay, so our plate's off. And we'll just pop the old rivets out of here. And then if we decide to reuse this, I might go online and see if I can get a nice reproduction. It's not that bad though. If we decide to reuse it, I'm going to get some little teeny tiny silver screws. They have them at Ace Hardware and we'll screw them on there. So, alright, so let's put this to the side for now. Okay, so we're ready to paint our coin door. It's a little filthy here. I'm going to just kind of take some sandpaper here and just get some of the surface rust off. Now this has like a very distinct texture to it, and I think we can keep the texture. If I don't sand too crazily here, I'm just going to get some of the surface rust off. Normally I'll strip these down with my sander, but this one's not that bad. It's just got some spots of rust. And I want to use that Rust-Oleum satin on here, because if I do, I'll just go right over this texture and we'll keep the texture. I've also used hammer paint in the past. Just trying to get some of the thick rust off of here. I'm wondering if I should get my sander. There's a lot of rust in here, in these coin slots. Again, this is well worth the effort, man. Nice coin door on a restored game is kind of like the cherry on top. I'm wiggling the table so much. I've got this this glass over here with water, simple green, and a little bit of 409 bleach with all the joystick parts in it, and it's shaking all over the place, and it's overflowing. Let me go get rid of this. Okay, so I cleaned that up real quick, but yeah. So, all right, let's keep going. I just want to basically just get all this surface rust off as much as I can. And some guys, you know, will take this coin door to a powder coater, and they'll just hand it to them. They'll sandblast it, get all the rust, get everything off, and then return it powder coated. And that's one way to go about this. I never do that. I always just paint my doors with spray paint, and it actually does. It works fine, and I'm saving myself a lot of money because powder coating can be expensive. It can be cheap too, I guess, if you know a cheap guy, but I don't. I don't have any powder coating connections in the world. So this is how I restore coin doors. And just coming through here, getting all that damn rust off. And like I said, normally I would just use my sander, and I don't want to go too crazy on this because I'm hoping to kind of keep the original finish once I spray it. And if I just get the chunks of rust off here, that Rust-Oleum paint is kind of designed to go over rust, but I don't want to have rust if I can avoid it. That looks pretty good. Doesn't look too shabby. Let's see on the back here. Not too bad. Okay. God, I almost think I can paint this the way it is right now. What do you think? It doesn't look too bad. I do want to clean it though. And let's look at the frame. Frame definitely has some surface rust down here. But yeah, this is my least favorite part of the restoration. the sanding, the painting, the bondoing. It is the most satisfying though when you're done. I'll say that. It's not fun, but the end result is always worth it. Okay, I think that's gonna be good enough. I'm gonna clean it up with some just a little simple green. This is actually mean green. Yeah, mean green. You can get this like at the dollar store. It's like a generic super green. It works just fine. Okay, we're all clean, so let's come over here. I'm just gonna hit these guys with some spray paint and then let this stuff dry overnight, and then we'll come back and do the other side tomorrow. But we got the control panel drying, and then we're gonna have this stuff dry, and then we'll finish up the other side. And I got pretty much all the surface rust off of here. I could have probably sanded it more. I'm kind of confident this is going to look okay though. And again, I'm just going to use a Rust-Oleum Satin Black. I'm actually using a different kind of paint here for this because I want to save this stuff for the front, and on the back I'm going to use this because I only have about a half a can of this one. This stuff seems to be much better paint, so I'm going to save this for the front. And I'm just going to use this for the back. This is the one I used to always buy, this Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Ultra Cover, 2 times the coverage. But this stuff really seems to be pretty good. I'm looking at the control panel over there. Holy cow, looks like it's powder coated. So I'm just going to use this cheaper stuff for the back. Because you're never going to see this. Some fuzz here. Stuff's going on thick. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry and I'll come back probably in about a half hour and throw a second coat on there. And so we're gonna let this stuff dry and then we'll come back. Okay guys, it's the next day here and I put a few coats of paint on both sides here. Probably actually too much paint, to be honest. I probably put about 4 coats both sides. And I just kept coming in here because you're supposed to apply another coat within an hour of it drying. And so you put a coat on, and then within an hour you put the second coat on, and usually after 20 minutes, because within 20 minutes it's dry to the touch. And I think it looks pretty good, actually. And because we didn't totally strip it, I mean, the light here is making it look super shiny. It's really not. Let me turn the light off. But because we didn't sand the coin door, it retained the original texture. Can you see that? Because the original texture was like this hammered type finish, and we just put the paint right over that finish, and because we didn't sand it totally down, we kept the texture. And I actually like that. That's actually, I usually sand it all the way down. I didn't do it this time. And I think this is the way to go, man, because it totally has the original texture, and it looks really original. So this is going to look really good when we put it back together. I still have to clean all the parts, and I want it to dry for a full day now because I did put some more coats on earlier today, and it's not quite dry. It's a little tacky. I probably shouldn't have picked it up right there. But anyway, what I want to do right now is I want to put the joystick back together. Again, it's the next day, and all of the parts for the joystick have been soaking in this water here, and it's basically a mixture of bleach. Actually, it's 409 with bleach added, and simple green and water. And I just put all the plastic parts in there, and the joystick. And it's interesting what's going on here because I don't know what's happening here, but the joystick ball. Well, the joystick ball itself is like mega clean, like way cleaner. But look what happened on the stick here. It's really weird. I don't know what happened. It's like it rusted overnight, sitting in that that solution. But this joystick, the ball itself, is like way cleaner than it was when I put it in there. So that totally worked. I'm gonna have to sand this down a little bit because it looks like it picked up some rust overnight. That's just strange. Because it was much smoother when I put it in there. I'll sand this down a little bit, but I'm going to take all the parts out and just wash them down. I'm actually wipe them down with some paper towel. And so let's see, this is the, oh yeah, see, all the grime and the dirt that was on here is just easily coming off because it's been sitting in that solution all night. And I always do it this way with joysticks and parts and buttons, and I didn't have to clean the buttons because they were brand new. But, you know, I always soak them overnight in a cup of water, a glass of water with, like I said, a little bit of 409 with bleach. You can use bleach itself, and then some simple green. And the next day, it's just, you just wipe them down, and they're like brand new. Sometimes it doesn't take all the grime off, like you could see here. It's like the plastic is kind of stained, but it's getting like 90% of it off. Some of it is actually just stained into the plastic, but that still looks pretty good. And let's get these other parts here. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get it much cleaner than this, but it looks pretty good still. Better than it was when I put it in there, that's for sure. This part right here I really want to look good because this, you can see this. This is the shaft, the red shaft of the joystick, and this thing had like, was black, and this plastic's just kind of shot, you could see. But I got most of it off. It's still going to look good, I think. There was some guy in Claw that had these. He was selling new old stock ones, or I don't know what the story was with the ones he was selling, but they were brand new. And this joystick is really the same as like Pac-Man, except it has this red collar instead of a black collar. I think that's really the only difference between the joystick that's on Journey and Tapper and Timber and Domino Man and Burgertime is that it has a red shaft instead of a black shaft or collar. This collar actually goes over the joystick itself. Like that. And that's what we're going to see above the control panel. That doesn't look bad. This plastic is like permanently just marked up and stained. I probably could buff it or something, but looks good. I could probably take some really fine grit sandpaper to it. Alright, let's get the rest of the parts out. Alright, so that's pretty much all of them. I want them to dry off though before I put them together. I don't want the joystick to start rusting because I'm putting together wet parts. Alright, let me dump this gross water out. One sec. Okay guys, it's time to put the joystick back together. All these plastic parts are pretty much dry right now. And I went and got the diagram. This is in the Journey manual. It's also in the Pac-Man manuals, all the manuals. And just in case I get confused here, this is going to tell me how everything goes together. And so I'll just kind of keep that to the side to kind of guide me. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this restrictor plate on here. This is the 4-way restrictor. And luckily, everything uses the same little screws. So it should be pretty smooth sailing as far as what screws go where because they're all the same. And you'll also notice on the parts, on one side of them, I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Let me just get this one in. You'll notice on the part that, see on this side, it's got little marks from the little washer, because the bottom of the washer has like that little like locking mechanism to it. It's kind of like a star, and you can see the little grooves on here. So I know that this is the top because that's where the washer was hitting and it made a mark in the part. And it did the same thing on that restrictor plate. So this, and by the way, I cleaned all these up. I sanded the heck out of them, cleaned them with Simple Green, and they look really good. They were absolutely filthy before. So I know the restrictor plate goes here, and this is the top because I can see the marks. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead here and screw this in. Okay. And yeah, this isn't really hard to put back together. You just got to kind of pay attention and have the diagram handy with next to you. Because it's easy to get confused if you didn't really document this very well when you took it apart, which I didn't. And just having the diagram in front of me is just making my life that much easier here, and I'm not second guessing myself. And Midway did a very good job with the manuals showing, exploded parts diagrams and all that. So very handy. Okay, so that's that, and then okay, so this is the bottom. This goes on here like so, and then this piece is in between according to that, and it goes like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm worried I'm not going to be able to get this piece in here after I screw the... So I'm going to go ahead and screw this together. Not hard, just gotta get stuff to line up. Do the one in this corner over here. And I did use the original grommet. I cleaned it up. It wasn't actually in bad shape. I don't have a replacement Midway grommet, but you can buy them at Game On Grommets if yours is cracked and dried. Mine was actually in pretty good shape, so I'm just going to use the original one, and it felt pretty good when I was playing it before. Okay, so now I just need to put the leaf switches on, so let me get those. Okay, so if you guys remember, I made a little cheat sheet here showing me which wires go where. That way, when I put the leaf switches back on, I know which one is left, which one is up, which one is down, just by making sure they're lining up in the right spot. And then when I put it back on the game, they'll also line up. So let me just kind of figure this little harness out I made. So it looks like it goes like this, and blue. Let's think about this here. Try not to confuse myself. Okay, it goes like that. Okay. So blue and black go like that, and this is, you know, just like how we took it off. I've got these two screws and this little metal plate, and just gotta screw them back on, and that's really it. Nothing really hard here. Just trying to keep things straight and not confusing yourself when you put it back together. And drawing little diagrams like this definitely helps. So black and white goes here. And the wires just kind of want to go to the spots too, because once you get one of them on, they just kind of naturally want to go where they were, because I had all the wires cut to length. Okay, and then this one is black and brown. Okay, and the last one is black and purple. And when you deal with these leaf switches, be careful though, because the little tabs can break off of them. Because the leaf switches have two leads, and I've had those break on me manhandling them, especially on the Wicco ones. What I'm talking about is these little tabs that the connectors are on. Those can easily break off, and you got to be careful and aware that that can happen. Because if they do break off, you're kind of screwed. You're gonna have to get a new switch, or you can, if you're lucky, you can solder it back on, which I have done. Okay, so that's all back together, and so it's gonna go all like that. So the joystick's back together. I cannot put the joystick on just yet because we gotta wait till we have the overlay on. But I'm just going to put all the parts together. It's going to basically go like this. So I'm just going to keep everything together. And then once we get the overlay on, we can then put the joystick on. Because the joystick is going to go through the top and then mount from the bottom. And we can't do this just yet. So, damn it. So I'm just going to put it right here for now. So, okay, that's it. So, you know what, guys? I think this is going to do it for this video. it's getting late here on Sunday. I'm kind of running out of time. So we're going to have to continue this in the next video. But I think the next video, we're going to start off with the control panel overlay. We're going to put the overlay on the control panel. And then we're going to finish the coin door, restoring that, putting that back together. And then we're going to really start the cabinet. I thought maybe in this video we would get to the cabinet. Not the case here. This weekend is over, guys. So I got to call it a night. So, all right. I hope you guys enjoyed this part. A lot of busy work in this video. Necessary busy work, but yeah, you know, it's a slow thing here, restoring these arcade games, you know? But we're getting somewhere, I think. And yeah, the game actually looks like we took a step backwards in this video because the coin door's off, the control panel's all apart. But anyway, we're getting somewhere. I'm really hoping to be done in 2 weeks. That's still my plan and my goal here. So anyway, that's it for this video. Why don't we go back down to the basement? All right, guys, there you have it. That was part number 7 of the Journey Restoration. And yeah, I know, the stuff we did today wasn't that exciting, was it? But you know what? Completely necessary. These are steps that we need to do to restore this game. And, well, we're getting closer, you know. And the next video is going to be a lot more fun, though, because we're going to put the control panel overlay on. We'll get the joystick on there and the buttons. It's really going to pop. And then also I want to finish that coin door, and then we're going to start restoring the damn cabinet. And I need to pick up some blue paint, like, now. Like, because I need to figure out which kind of paint I'm using. I think I'm going to go to Sherwin-Williams and buy some navy blue, like the best paint I can get they have. I don't know, an acrylic enamel, who knows. But anyway, there you have it. That was part 7. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And by the way, I release new videos every Sunday and sometimes in between. If you guys have never subscribed to my little channel, now is a great time to do so. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. And if you do, you know, you get little alerts when I upload videos and all that good stuff. And then also check out my podcasts. I have 2 of them, Arcade Outsiders at arcadeoutsiders.com and Video Game Outsiders at videogameoutsiders.com. Both of those podcasts are live every Tuesday night starting at 9 p.m. Eastern on allgames.com. And of course, during the week, you can listen to those on iTunes and Stitcher and all that good stuff. So, and by the way, I'm using Dan Reed's little tripod on wheels here. What do you guys think of this? Is this cool? Is this like, are we like flying through here? Woo! I don't know, man. This thing's kind of fun. I think it makes a big difference, actually, doesn't it? Is it smoother? I mean, my camera has a Steadicam already built in, and probably the combination of the Steadicam plus this tripod, it probably looks like we're flying through here right now. It's hard to tell right now as I look through the camera lens, but I bet you that my camera is smoothing out all the little bumps and stuff that I'm going over, the carpeting, because right there's a little carpet bump, bump, bump. So anyway, all right, guys, that's it for me. I'll see you next time, and take care. And by the way, check out the John's Arcade forums at johnsarcade.com. It's a really cool place, and lots of awesome people there. If you've made it to the video, if you're at the end of this video and you're still here, you're the kind of person that should be on these forums. Go to johnsarcade.com, click on the forum button and join, because the people there are freaking awesome. We've got like over 700 members now, and so check it out, johnsarcade.com, and then click on forum. All right, guys, that's going to be it. I will see you guys next time. Later. Whee!